Hey everyone, welcome. I'm OOYAH for those who don't know me. I make music. I'm an artist from the Caribbean, South America, Caribbean, Venezuela. Today, I'm gonna learn how to make eye contact with the camera. I'm gonna show you the breakdown of my latest song, I Don't Miss You. It's one of my favorite songs I've ever made. It's a pretty simple song, consists of two main parts, which is guitar and vocals. It's like a hyper punk, pop punk, Midwest emo-ish song about being down bad. Let me show you a bit of the song for those who haven't heard. Okay, that's enough. Go stream it on all platforms if you liked it. Thank you for your support. There were two problems with the intro. First, it felt long, but if you didn't have this first part, the second part didn't make much sense, and this one alone felt a bit stale. Try a couple of things, none of them felt right. I decided to make a transition of sorts within the intro, so I filtered the beginning, added some Foley to make it sound like you were going out into the crowd. I made this effect rack with Pro Q3 on the phone preset, and I automated the dry signal, which is a chain with no effects. I went ahead and automated the volume curve so as to make a dry wet knob for it, and altogether sounded like this. I resampled them by creating another audio track and set to resample, and I recorded that signal, which turned out to be this channel, and I put an RC20 on it to further intensify the effect. That's when I added the Foley outside of the filter. There's a Foley door, a crowd, nothing fancy or complex. Altogether sounded like this. The guitar is tuned in standard D, which is a whole step down. Chords are this. It's like an A major shape on the bar chord on the 5th fret, but we're leaving the two tiny strings B and E open the entire song. So the standard A major would be like this, right? But we leave the first and second string open, so it sounds like this. Then we go two semitones up to a B major shape, I think. Then we go one string below on the 7th fret, the 5th string, and we leave the two B and E open. Then go a semitone below with the root and the octave of the power chord, which would be this. We go down one, as well as here, like this. That's how it played. That's the entire song. You can never miss the classic OOYAH sipping on his drink before starting to speak. First we have the chords, which we already saw. Each channel is the same, but it's panned to the left and the right in different takes. Together they would give you this stereo white image. On the recording you hear a lot of white noise. Sometimes you hear the metronome. That was not on purpose, but at the same time it was, because I wanted it to have defects. You want to add or introduce those noises because it lets the listener feel like they're within the song. But when you have like nothing, it kind of sounds weird and empty, and I really like the thing that supports the guitar. It makes it sound massive. If it didn't have that, I don't know if it would sound the same. So I'm really happy that it sounds the way it does. There's no effects in the individual tracks. Then I grouped them and I added a compressor, CLA 3A, some saturation. I always use this preset, and then I lower the output so it remains like sort of the same volume. Then I EQ'd it. I drop an OTT at 16% and the time to 1000%. Then I have black box analog. I think I left it as is. It adds a very subtle saturation. Then some more EQ on the 220. For the lead guitar, we have two channels because there's a secondary melody, which is this for the chorus. Okay, each guitar channel has not much, it's just creative effects and some EQ. For the EQ, a low shelf, some cuts and offending frequencies. Then I did this parallel processing. I added an octave. I just wanted it to sound more shimmery, and I found that to be a cool idea. Then for the second guitar, just some compression on the original channel. Put it 19 units to the right and 15 to the right here. On the guitar group though, the lead guitar, I did add a bunch of effects, a low cut, the same saturation but without the output decrease. Then the same compressor, I really like this compressor on guitars. I clipped all the softness up and I just left it as a gain increase. Then I used a CLA 2A, another compressor I really like. Devilock audio level destroyer, that's like a distortion saturator that I liked. You can overdo it very easily, so be careful with this plugin. Black box, again, I exaggerated the parameters and decreased the output for it to add more color to the guitars. I used vitamin stereo, that's a saturator and stereo widener, and some more EQ. Let me show you how the guitars changed with the effects on and off. I like that it also distorts a bit. That adds more like energy to the track. Might not sound pretty to some, might be awesome to others. And this is the dry versus wet of the lead guitar. I also added a synth lead that supports the main melody. It's very quiet. It's more felt than heard, but I feel like it added, and when I removed it, I kind of missed it, so it became attached to a melody synth. I really like it. The synth that I used was Tone 2 Electro 2 Live Seeker preset. I usually turn off the reverb and delays so I can use my own here, but I didn't. That's okay. As I learn more or I make more songs, I give less of a fuck of the method and try just to get the vibe right. Sometimes I go back to focusing more on the theory rather than the vibe, even though the theory makes it sound worse than what it was sounding at the moment. So I'm learning to let go of that and go with the sound. Do what sounds good. For the bridge, I added strings to make it more dramatic. It's hard to hear them in the mix, but I feel like they add an extra layer. So here are the strings. Very realistically sounding strings. Then I added another. All together sounded like this. The plugin, Sunnybox Orchestral Companion. Now we go for the vocals, my favorite part. For the vocal chain, I have the lead vocals, which include the verse and the chorus together as one. Some overlay dubs I made that I wanted to be at the same loudness to add thickness to the vocal. All of these decisions are situational. And I have an all background vocals group, which hosts all the background vocals. Then I have a bridge and vocal group that has another vibe. So the lead vocal.
You see through everything.
You can hear distortion on it and a lot of effects. I used Melodyne to tune the vocals further in the song because just autotune wasn't helping me, or I didn't know how to use it properly for the genre. To compress.
You see through everything.
For the background, let's see what I did.
You know it all. Whoa.
That adds to the main thing.
You know it all.
Very subtle, but you can hear like the breaths, the extra harmonics added by the layers.
As the night first take a hold of all the times I'm not with you.
Together.
And my tears, they fall. As the nightmares take hold of all the times I'm not with you.
Sounds kind of sick, not gonna lie to you. I really like how that sounds. Very full and open. I use an SSL channel EQ. I cut everything below 300 hertz because I heard Tony Maserati say that you may not need as much low end or high end on your backgrounds because they're already present on your lead vocals. Some adjustments in the bands, doesn't matter. I just did what I felt sounded good. Sound compression, de-essers. I'm doing a very small amount of de-essing. Yeah, usually like under 3 decibels, sometimes more, sometimes less. It depends on the context. Always depends on the context. Some EQ correction. Vitamin stereo to widen the stereo field of the vocals, and that's it for the backgrounds. As you can see, both groups go into a bigger group called All Vocals Group, which hosts all of the effects for the entire vocal mix bus. I have a G clip.
And my teeth,
I think there's some peaks that I cut with those.
I'm feeling so low.
Yeah, here. It's very tiny. I just wanted it to sort of distort and control the vocal a bit more. Then I have the Quickchild 670 stereo compressor.
I'm feeling so low.
Know that we had the Arvox before that, so we're progressively compressing the vocals. EQ here, then we have the Arvox again, compressing further, gentle shaping of the tone. Then we have more corrective EQ, a bit warmer preset, chef's kiss, especially for songs that you want to be heavier. Saturation helps with that a lot. Then I use a Devilock audio level destroyer to make it sound more like a rock pop punk record, as well as Decapitator at a very small percentage of mix with heavier distortion. It's the Angry Vox preset. Some more EQ, Renaissance de-esser, then virtual mic track. I usually use these 3 plugins the most. I really like what it does. Adds more distortion to the vocal. Then the revival thing that adds like brightness and thickness. It's like an EQ or enhancer. Then I do the air EQ to add air to my vocals, because if you don't have this,
Quisiera saber.
it really opens up the vocal, but it's very easy to overdo it as well, so be mindful of that. Then soothe, because it makes everything sound better 90% of the times if you know what you want it to do. And Valhalla Ubermod, it's like a chorus effect to further open up the stereo image of the vocals. So the dry version,
You see through everything. Whoa.
you can see the vocals become a lot darker, quieter, muddy. They sound like shit. My microphone is not the best and my room sucks, so I have to do a lot of processing to my vocals to make them sound the way I want to. But yeah, that's what I like, and I'm really happy how it turned out. At the end, everything seemed okay, but it needed something. I've realized a lot of my favorite records sort of go all out on the second or last chorus and bridge, and I wanted to do something like that so that it wouldn't be as repetitive, and I added this vocals.
And my tears, they fall. I'm not wet in my skin. I don't miss you. I don't need you.
And together, all the vocals sound like this.
And I don't miss you. I don't need you. Can't even remember all the days that we have been through. And I won't kiss you. I won't face you. 'Cause you're nothing to me. Why can't be that what I need?
The effects here are simpler, just needed the melodical element of it, but it's gonna be very quiet, so I just compressed it, EQ'd it, more compression, removed the entire low end, and did some vitamin from waves to get the sound. This is how they would sound without the processing.
And my tears. And my tears.
I have an ambience that I always add. It's usually this one, Watery Waves by Clan Build. I don't know how to pronounce that. Shout out to this person that made this, because it sounds really good. It's just like waves. It goes back to what I was saying about adding noise and elements that support your song. It's very quiet, you barely hear it, but the wind, the high end, the zizzle, all of that adds to the composition. For the master, we have this that was just temporary. The utility to check the mono, check the bass. I like to check things like that. Q1 stereo, low pass at 26, just to remove any rumble there may be. I hear people don't even use this. It's not a mandatory thing. SSL compressor. Sometimes I like how it sounds on my record, sometimes I don't, so I don't always use it. Aux3 inflator, it inflates The track makes it sound really good, very loud easily, so I use it almost always because it's sick. Brainworks Digital, this is what I did. Saturn, it's at the default setting, which adds 20% of warm tape saturation. FabFilter Pro Q, use Control to add 22% width. I made up to 50 hertz mono. That could be a lot, depends on what you want. I'm using the Kenny Beats subscriber rewards master chain. Pro L, I changed the preset and the settings. WLM Plus, I use it to check the long-term LUFS. I recently changed to U-Lean loudness meter. The interface better than this one. I usually use this one to turn on the peak limiter, but Pro L2 has now a built-in true peak limiter that I like better. And those are all the effects. Span, it's another free plugin by Voxengo. I use it to check the spectrum, and this is just to export the audio from the master to OBS. This is the song with and without master effects.
Can't show, you know it all. Whoa.
That's pretty much everything for the song. It has a DIY vibe to it. It's emotional, heartfelt. It communicates everything that I like communicating as an artist. I hope you enjoyed this breakdown. Like and subscribe. Let me know in the comments what else would you like to see, learn, or me break down. Did I make grammatical sense in English? I have no idea. But thank you for watching. See you later. Mwah.